morning. Good morning. Welcome, friends. Welcome to this beloved community. My name is Jennifer Grant, and it's an honor to serve as your worship associate this morning, as well as my worship associate, Andrea Joy, and the lovely choir who's going to be singing, and John Dalton, our amazing music director, and Jeff Letts on our organ, and Leslie Peterson on our violin, and our fabulous, fabulous tech team. Welcome all. And whether you are joining us for the first time or returning home once again, we are so glad to have you here. In this space, we gather as people of many paths, bringing different stories, different questions, different beliefs, and yet we come together in a shared spirit of curiosity, compassion, and connection. Today we celebrate a special and beautiful tradition, the Flower Communion. Our Flower Communion has roots in a real moment of courage and hope, first shared by the Unitarian minister Norbert Čapek in what is now the Czech Republic. In a time of great uncertainty, he invited his congregation to bring flowers, symbols of their individual lives, and to share them with one another as a sign of unity, resilience, and love. And so we continue that tradition. Each flower brought today is unique, just like each person here. No two are the same. Some are bright and bold, others are soft and subtle. Some may be carefully chosen, others simply what was available. And all are welcome. These flowers also remind us of something deeply true about this community. We are a people of many beliefs. Among us are those rooted in Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, humanism, earth-centered traditions, and many, many more. Some of us claim no single tradition, but instead walk a path of seeking and questioning. Like the flowers, these beliefs are not meant to compete, but to coexist, to create something richer, more vibrant, more whole. So today, as we share in this ritual, we celebrate not only the beauty of the flowers, but the beauty of our diversity. We honor the many ways we understand the sacred, the many languages we use to speak of love and justice and meaning. And as you take your flower later in the service, may it remind you that you are a part of this living bouquet, that you belong here, and that together we create a community more beautiful than any one of us could alone.
We begin, as we always do, by wondering how to begin. Do we say God, or Goddess, or Holy Mystery? Do we say Father, Mother, Divine? Do we speak of Spirit, Source, Creator, Sustainer? Love that will not let us go? Do we call you Allah, Tao, Great Spirit, Yahweh, Buddha, the wide universe? Life, truth, justice, compassion, the web that connects us, the energy that moves the stars and our own restless hearts. Some of us name you hope. Some name you love. Some name you the still small voice within. Some name you the best in us. Some name you the pull toward wholeness. Some name you our highest aspirations. Some do not name you at all, trusting instead in community, in conscience, in the moral imagination, in human kindness, in the law of nature that interconnects us all. And having said all this, having reached for every word we know and honored the silence where words fall short, we realize that this is enough. The naming is the prayer. The reaching is the prayer. The intention to leave no one out is the prayer. May whatever name we carry today open us to wonder. May whatever language we trust lead us toward compassion. May whatever we believe or doubt call us to live with courage, humility, and care. Amen. Or blessed be.
We light this chalice, the flame of our shared faith and our gathered community. Like flowers in a garden, we come in many colors, shapes, and fragrances, each one beautiful, each one unique, each one carrying its own story. No two of us are the same, yet here we are, side by side, offering our gifts to one another. In this sacred space, our differences do not divide us, they make us whole. As the single flame burns before us, may it remind us that we are many flowers, but one garden, many stories, but one community, united in love, united in spirit, united by this one light. Please rise in body and spirit to join us with stating our covenants. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Summer bursts the seeds I sow.
yes, thank goodness for rain come tumbling down. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between a river and a wide open meadow, there lived a group of people who were different from one another. Some were young, some were old, some were loud and joyful, others were quiet and thoughtful. Some had lived in the village their whole lives, while others had just arrived. They didn't always agree, but they all shared one thing, a longing to belong. In the center of the village was an empty garden. Each year, the villagers would gather and wonder what to plant there, but they could never decide. Roses are the best, said one. No, sunflowers, said another. What about wildflowers? Someone else chimed in. And so, year after year, the garden stayed empty. One spring morning, a child, no older than 7, walked into the garden holding a single daisy. The child knelt down, dug a small hole with her hands, and planted it right in the middle. An elder passed and stopped and asked, "Why did you plant just one flower?" The child looked up, "Because it's what I have to give." The eldest smiled and went home, and returned with a lavender plant. "Then I will bring what I have," they said, planted it beside the daisy. Soon another villager came with a bright red tulip, and another with a golden marigolds, and another with a simple sprig of green. Each person brought something different. Each flower had its own color, its own shape, its own scent. And slowly, something beautiful began to happen. The garden, once empty, became full, overflowing with life and color. Bees and butterflies danced among the blossoms. The air carried 100 different fragrances. No single flower was exactly the same. And that was what made the garden so wondrous. One day, the villagers gathered at the edge of the garden, amazed at what they had created together. "It was more beautiful than I imagined," said one. "It's because we didn't choose just one kind of flower," said another. "It's because everyone brought what they had," said the elder. And the child, now smiling, added, "It's because we shared." From that day on, the villagers made a promise. Each year, they would bring a flower, whatever they could find, whatever they loved, and place it in the garden. And before they left, they would take a different flower home with them, a reminder that they were part of something larger than themselves. And so the garden was never empty again. Like the many flowers, we come, each different, each beautiful, each unfolding in our own way. Take a gentle breath in and breathe out. Breathing in, notice your presence here. Breathing out, release what you carry. Breathing in, feel yourself rooted like a flower in the earth. Breathing out, open to the light around you. In this shared moment, we are many flowers, and together we are one garden, held in the warmth of a single flame.
If you have a stone with you this morning, I invite you to hold your stone close to your heart and take a quiet moment of reflection. As you hold your joys and your sorrows, your gratitude or your grief, notice what is present within you today. And as you reflect, consider this. What kind of flower speaks to your theology, your way of understanding the sacred, the world, your place in it? Are you a steady oak blossom, rooted and enduring? A wildflower growing freely wherever there is light? A rose, both tender and strong, holding beauty and thorns together? Whatever flower you are today, you belong here. Carry that reflection with you as you come forward, placing your stone with intention, adding your story to our shared garden. I'm going to place the first stone to honor the diversity and beauty and joy and love within this community. Please come forward. I place one final stone to represent the love in this community here in this congregation, in hopes that this love spreads to our greater community, throughout our country, throughout our world. May love lead the way.
Oh, how perfect was that? Thank you. So I have selected as my flower of choice today the rose. Here you see a rose that looks quite withered, and here's a rose that is dripping petals all over the place here. You might see them too. And I guess the rose is the most storied of all flowers. This rose was in a bouquet that the cast gave me last week, and I knew it wasn't going to last all week, so I thought, let me see if I could dry it. And I looked on the internet, how do you dry a flower? And one of the things they suggested was in the microwave. So this is what a very large boo looked like before it was put in the microwave. So I was in New York this week, and New York is just gorgeous right now. It's full of flowering trees. I mean, Central Park is a fairyland. And there are tulips everywhere too. And so I think as I talk about the rose now, I'm going to be referring to things in literature because every poet seems to have had to talk about the rose. Even Coleridge, who said in The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the bride came into the room, red as a rose was she. In 16th century France, there were some marvelous poets because that was the Renaissance in France. And one of them, Drouet, has a poem that says, can you stand any French? It says, Le temps a laissé son manteau, which means the weather. Well, the word weather and time are the same in French, so it's a little ambiguous, but let's say the weather has taken off its coat. And by that it means in other parts of the world, the snow has melted. So the weather has taken off its coat and gotten dressed in embroidery. And those would be our flowers. Shakespeare said, of all flowers, methinks rose is the best. And as you remember, his Juliet said, a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. So there's something about the essence of the rose that goes beyond the word rose. A lot of poets used roses to express the idea of carpe diem. You know, gather ye rosebuds while ye may, that's Herrick, 17th century British. Gather the rosebuds, and in France, the same idea, let's go see if the rose still has some petals. So the rose becomes the symbol of something that is gorgeous and then gets withered and old and ugly all too soon. Lots of male poets use this to, you know, entice women. You're going to be old, so take your chances with me now. This fair flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying. Or Ronsard, another of the 16th century guys, says, you know, you're going to be sitting in your rocker and you're going to think, gee, I had a chance with Ronsard back in the day, and here I am. One of our hymns says, I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. This is a 20th century words. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. And so the rose, more and more, instead of being a carpe diem symbol, is a symbol of unfolding. In New York at the community church where I went for many years, I had, Tammy, my daughter, had a naming ceremony, and Paul too, who's back there with the tech people, when he was a baby. I got Tammy when she was 5, but we still decided to do a naming ceremony. And the minister took a rose, which very usefully had no thorns on it, had been, rid of its thorns, because Tammy at 5 grabbed that darn rose, and if it hadn't had thorns on it, it wouldn't have been a pretty picture. But he touches them and says, I touch you on your brow, I touch you on your cheeks, as a symbol of your unfolding life. And as I thought about the rose as a symbol of unfolding life, I thought of what Jennifer had given me as an assignment. She said, talk about the flower as it pertains to your journey. And as I thought of the journey and the rose, it occurred to me that you could kind of equate them with the rose being you, your genetic makeup, so to speak, what's going to unfold in you. We're kind of programmed to unfold in certain ways as life goes on. But the journey is where we meet other people. Maybe you could say this is heredity, the journey is environment, and it interacts with us. So the journey and the rose are really a way to sum up what life is all about. I like the idea that many of us have in UUism, and that is to live in the mystery. We know we don't know. We really don't know. So we might as well enjoy that feeling of a wonder, of wonderment. And the rose too, we don't know how it's going to unfold. We don't know whether it's going to completely open, or we don't know whether it's going to have things that happen to it along the way in its journey. The last hymn that I want to refer to that has rose in it is one that's called Bread and Roses. So if the journey and the rose are heredity and environment, the forces that make us who we are, bread and roses means that bread is sustenance. We have to have it. It's what's for survival. But the rose, that's what gives us a reason to want to survive.
Jennifer asked me to pick a flower that represented the denomination of my birth, that is still important to me, and the denomination of my choice. The sunflower and I have a lot in common. We are both Junitarians. We blossom in both the world of Judaism and that of Unitarian Universalism. The sunflower faces the sun. Its particular appeal to Judaism lies in its turning toward the light. Jews are encouraged to turn toward the light of Torah. The sunflower's petals are resilient and colorful, representing faith, loyalty, and gentleness. Each denomination promotes love, kindness, and compassion, appealing concepts to those who aspire to bring joy and light to fellow travelers. The sunflower represents the inherent worth and dignity of every person and the beauty of the natural world. Both denominations honor the search for truth and meaning. Members seek to be open-minded, critical thinkers, always seeking new light, beauty, and understanding of others. Why? Unitarian Universalism might use sunflowers to represent religious education. They symbolize spiritual growth and interconnectedness. The flower represents a turning toward one another for support during difficult times. Jews, like sunflowers, are hardy and have thrived in difficult conditions. Simone Wiesenthal wrote The Sunflower, exploring forgiveness and memory of harsh conditions observed by the silent witnesses, the sunflowers in the fields growing around the camps. At present, sunflowers have become a symbol of solidarity with Ukraine, the world's largest producer of sunflower oil. Sunflowers are part of communal prayers for peace and justice. A minister at the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Palo Alto said, and I quote, "The sunflower is a symbol of hope in difficult times. It's easy to find joy in a bright yellow sunflower on a gray day." I will conclude this by reading a poem, The Sunflowers by Mary Oliver. Come with me into the field of sunflowers. Their faces are burnished discs. Their dry spines creak like ship masts. Their green leaves, so heavy and many, fill all the day with the sticky sugars of the sun. Come with me to visit the sunflowers. They are shy, but want to be friends. They have wonderful stories of when they were young, the important weather, the wandering crows. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. Their bright faces, which follow the sun, will listen, and all those rows of seeds, each one with a new life. Hope for a deeper acquaintance. Each of them, though it stands in a crowd of many, like a separate universe, is lonely. The long work of turning their lives into a celebration is not easy. Come and let us talk with those modest faces and simple garments of leaves, the coarse roots in the earth, so uprightly burning.
Search for symbols of our deepest values and to the things that embody what we believe in and the things that drive us day by day. We often might look to the ornate or the rare, something like a rose or an orchid or a lotus. But for those of us who enjoy our natural world and who find meaning in it, the most profound symbol might just be the one that grows in the cracks of our sidewalks, the dandelion. And although that I don't have one to show you guys, I'm sure that you know what it is, whether it be the bright yellow flower we see all the time, or the beautiful white sphere that we always blow wishes out of. To many, we might see the dandelion as a weed, but to those of us that have a mind rooted in naturalism and appreciate all life around us, is a perfect embodiment of resilience and reality. When I was asked by Jennifer to come up with an idea for what flower might embody my beliefs and my core values of our family, the first thing that came to my mind was community, love, and resilience. Times like these, including now, are really hard. And when I thought of a flower, the perfect flower came to mind, the dandelion. Whether it be on your sidewalks, on the walls, or even places such as, who knows, a desert. It grows in the most wonderful way. Think about the life cycle of this flower. We've all seen it transform from a bright yellow sun into a fragile white sphere of seeds. And in many traditions, such things like these might be called a miracle. But for others, it can be seen as something far more beautiful. Mother Nature's way of embodying love and resilience. Is a transformation that might be seen as a mystery, though it's a beautiful process that might even cause wonder or inquiry. It teaches us that what is here and what we can observe is sufficient for us, and that we can find love, and that we can find resilience even in the hardest of times. And then there's the seeds, with a wish made by a little one, both big and small, or with a single breath of wind. Those seeds are carried in every direction.
So, the Buddhist flower is, and Lucas actually stirred this up for me, is the lotus. And the lotus rises up from the muck, right? The decomposing material and things on the bottom of a pond, right? The slimiest stuff. And from that rises up this beautiful flower that, that blooms, it comes up, it breaks the surface of the water, and then it goes back down, and then it comes back up again. And I think for me, that's what our life really is, right? We have to deal with the everyday things that get in our way, the reality of what's going on in the world. And but out of that, if we pay attention, if we practice compassion, loving kindness, and we pay attention to each other, then that's how we manifest. And one of the great stories from the Buddhist tradition is when the Buddha transmitted the Dharma, he shared and what he had realized with his congregation. What he did was he held up a flower. He didn't say anything. He just held up a flower. And one person, one of his followers, smiled. And he said, there. I've shared the Dharma with Mahakasyapa, who smiled. And there was this, a communication beyond words because of this flower. And I think that that's when we come here, you know, every Sunday and we do our stones of intention. That's a form of communication, I think. And the flower communion is another one, because it reminds me that, again, these beautiful things can come from all the adversity and all of the, you know, the sorrows and things and struggles that we have in life, you know, with practice, with attention, with love and compassion, a beautiful flower can rise up over and over again. Thanks.
Most of you don't know me. My name is Lee Haywood, and I am Wiccan. I'm from rural Middle Tennessee and was raised Southern Baptist. I even spent the summer of 1985 as a missionary in Utah and Idaho. And I think that experience is what started my journey away from being Baptist. I was asked to do things that I was very uncomfortable with. Having social anxiety, knocking on a stranger's door was uncomfortable to begin with. One pastor wanted my fellow missionary and me to ask the names and ages of people's children. That's something you just can't do. When we refused, we were greatly chastised. I had a lady in a small church where I volunteered to lead the music ask me what the Bible says about divorce. When I graduated high school, I was gifted a Strong's Concordance. Concordance is a book that lists every word in the Bible and lists every chapter and verse where that word is used. So I looked at divorce. Every entry basically started with, if your wife does this, you can divorce her. It was always the woman's fault, never the husband's. I also grew disillusioned on how women were viewed basically as second-class citizens, walk 3 steps behind. Now, I don't mind walking a little behind because I get to watch the wiggle. And I wonder why I'm single. I've always been fascinated by mythology and magic. I often pretended I could cast spells way beyond the age people thought that I should have stopped. Now I can do magic. No, I can't twitch my nose like Samantha from Bewitched and make things happen, but I do see results. As an aside, the tone when I get a text is the sound of Samantha's twitching nose. I liken my journey to a particular flower, the lowly buttercup. Buttercups grow wild where I'm from, and they were my paternal grandmother's favorite flower. Beautiful yellow flowers dotted across yards and fields. The thing about buttercups is they're one of the last flowers to disappear in the winter and the first to bloom in spring. It wasn't unusual to see the first green shoots pushing up through patches of snow. Even under the adversity of the cold, the buttercup uses the water from the melting snow to emerge, sharing its beauty with the world. Now that is magic.
Well, I'm the last reflection in this very diverse bouquet this morning. Jennifer asked me to talk about how I became a UU through my Christian faith. My name is Pati Maier, and the flower that represents my faith journey is a sunflower. My first reason for picking the sunflower is because I grew up in North Dakota. And North Dakota is the top producer of sunflowers in the United States. And I didn't realize, Helen, maybe my grandparents, when they came from the Ukraine, brought the sunflowers with them. The helianthus, which is the scientific name for sunflower, also has symbolic meaning. Sunflowers turn toward the sun, representing the human spirit's pursuit of light, truth, and personal growth. That sounds to me like the very essence of UUism. We'll come back to this. I was happy in my liberal Christian Protestant churches up north. I thought, and still do, that Jesus said a lot of useful things about how to live a life filled with love, service, and kindness, and how to act with justice and mercy. Those churches let me experience the rest of Christianity as interesting stories, maybe with some truth in them, maybe not, that had lessons and guidance for me. There's a lot of great music, good fellowship and community, and many opportunities to serve others in those churches. Jesus said that the kingdom of God is right here among us, and I could find that in those churches. However, there are many aspects of Christianity that are not a part of my faith. I don't need a mediator to access the divine. Jesus did not die because I'm sinful. I'm not fundamentally unworthy or unlovable. Hell is not an eternal divine torture chamber. God loves the people God creates just as they are. And Jesus did not claim to be the only voice of truth. I believe that these hurtful elements of Christianity are part of a historical, evolving, man-made system layered over the life and teaching of Jesus. Unfortunately, they're also what I found when I started looking for a Protestant church here in sunny Fort Myers. I promise I'm getting back to the sunflower. White prosperity Jesus, wearing a USA t-shirt and brandishing an assault rifle, is not my guy. And I just couldn't do it. I had about given up on my search for a church when I passed UUCFM's blue sign out on Daniels. It's since vanished. So I asked Google what Unitarian Universalism is. Google obligingly popped up the 7 principles, and I thought, hey, this is gonna work. So I visited UUCFM, and here I found a place that supports the human spirit's pursuit of light, truth, and personal growth. And here we are back at the sunflower, symbolizing what keeps me here and happy. Thank you, blessed be, and Ashe.
The Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion Service, which we are about to celebrate, originated in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Čapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in Czechoslovakia. On the last Sunday before the summer recess of the Unitarian Church in Prague, all the children and adults participated in this colorful ritual, which gives concrete expression to the humanity-affirming principles of our liberal faith. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found Dr. Čapek's gospel of the inherent worth and beauty of every person to be, as Nazi court records show, too dangerous to the Reich for him to be allowed to live. Dr. Čapek was sent to Dachau, where he was killed the next year during a Nazi medical experiment. This gentle man suffered a cruel death, but his message of human hope and decency lives on through his flower communion, which is widely celebrated today. It is a noble and meaningful ritual we are about to recreate. This service includes the original prayers of Dr. Chopek to help us remember the principles and dreams for which he died. We use flowers in our ceremony this morning to help us symbolize the love that is hidden deep inside us. I want to lift up and celebrate how privileged we are to be a part of a community, to look back, to be present, and evolve into the future. Today, like the flowers, we celebrate in all of their forms, none better than the other, a seed, a leaf, bud, blossom, or even a dead flower, bound to be fertilized for our future. It all brings joy. This morning, our ritual originates in place and times many years ago, but inspires us to live out our commitment to place love in the center. Here are Chopek's words. Flowers are beautiful, and so are the feelings of love among people. Their beauty cannot be measured, and neither can the feelings of people be measured. Their life is short, but new flowers will replace the flowers that die, and new love can come into our hearts. The bud is for the new babies who have joined us this year. Last year, these babies did not exist. This year, they are here among us. Before they could lift a hand, they learned to smile. Before they could speak, they learned to love. If we help them keep this love in our hearts, they will pass it on to others many years in the future. The flower represents the people living all over the world. Maybe we will never see them face to face or touch their hands, but we can still warm our hands on their hearts because we know that their hopes are like our hopes. Their pain is like our pain. Their love like our love. These flowers were brought here by a different person and put together in these vases. They stand for all of the people here today. These flowers, so lovely, will fade tomorrow, but the love among brothers and sisters, families and friends will go on and on. We know one another. We know what is in each other's hearts. We have brought our flowers and our love to brighten our church and gladden our hearts. So, infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, among diversities of knowledge and gifts, to be one of desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of their most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationships, but may we realize that whatever we can, great or small, the efforts of us are needed to do what thy work is in the world. It is now time for us to share in the flower communion. I ask that before we begin, we let our choir participate first in getting their flowers because they will be singing throughout the entire flower communion. I ask that each of you, in turn, approach the communion table. Do so quietly, reverently, with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and one another with gentleness, justice, and love. I ask that you select a flower, a seed, a plant, a bulb, different from the one that you brought, that particularly appeals to you. And as you take your chosen flower, please remember to handle it carefully. It is a gift that someone else has brought to you. It represents that person's unique humanity and therefore deserves your kindness touch. Let us share quietly in this Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and love.
Just as each flower in our garden is unique, each gift we give is an expression of who we are, our values, our hopes, and our love for this community. No contribution is too small, no gesture too simple. Together, our gifts, like a bouquet of many flowers, create beauty, sustain our shared work, and nurture the light we hold in common. May's cash-sharing partner is Love Your Rebellion. And I would like to have Angela Page please come up and tell us a little bit about Love Your Rebellion and what they are working on right now.
Hi everybody, good morning. I'm so pleased to be here with you all today, and I want to say thank you so much for having Love Your Rebellion be your monthly place of donation this month. So let me tell you a little bit about Love Your Rebellion and what we do. Love Your Rebellion is a 501c3 that empowers marginalized groups through the arts. And we do that through employment and discovery. So we have opportunities for artists, musicians, writers that provide employment, and also a space for them to be discovered. So this is our brand new artists, our brand new writers, our brand new musicians. We focus very, very heavily on the Southwest Florida area. It is our intent to grow the artist community, and also an artist community that is deeply aligned with social justice, deeply aligned with creating space for all types of art, for all types of writing, music, etc. Right now, we are undergoing a huge undertaking that we are so excited to talk about. We are opening our first brick and mortar location in Fort Myers. Prior to this, we've been hosting our events in different locations throughout Lee County. And while we've grown a huge and really loyal following through that, we're so excited to now have a home base where we'll be able to have all of our programming in one location. It is going to be in Fort Myers, right off of Cypress Lake and Winkler. We open May 15th, so very, very soon. We're super excited about it. We have an opening night coming on May 15th and 16th that weekend. On the 15th, there is an inaugural art exhibition featuring local group artists, women, people of color, etc. And also the next night, we have something called Saturday Showcase, which is our monthly open mic. We allow musicians to sign up in advance, and we also feature one performer per month. So that's kind of the type of programming that people can expect from Love Your Rebellion. We also make a newspaper, which the UU is a proud sponsor of, and we're really, really grateful for that. It's called Swamp Rag. We have some issues with us today, if you guys would like one for free. And they are all throughout Lee County in several different small businesses around the area. Places like Selle Records and Nice Guys in Cape Coral. And so we're really excited to not only open the Rebel, which is what our new location is going to be called, but also put out the second issue of Swamp Rag. So you guys can look forward to that as well. That is what we have been up to for the last, I don't know, forever. This is a big endeavor for us, and we've been working up to it for about 10 years, this location. So we're very close, and I want to thank you all again very deeply from all of our board members, our volunteers, and all of the artists that you are all helping through your sponsorship and donations from the bottom of our hearts. We really appreciate it. Also, this was a beautiful service, and I cried like 5 times, so thank you. Thank you very much.
You can determine where you would like your funds to be designated this morning by indicating it on your check or envelope, or in the drop-down menu if donating electronically. All loose funds in the collection will be donated to Love Your Rebellion, our sharing partner this month. If you don't already have an envelope and you wish to show your support for UUCFM's congregational programs, envelopes can be found at the end of the pews. Unmarked envelopes will be designated for UUCFM, loose funds for Love Your Rebellion. As we prepare to give our offering, let us remember that generosity, like a flower, blooms in many forms, and each bloom matters. All gifts are received with great gratitude.
Summer's long.
As we accept this offering, please stand and let's share our words of gratitude. By the work of our hands and the work of our hearts, our love is made real. May we be grateful for all that is given and grateful for all that is shared. As we extinguish our chalice and prepare to share our flowers with each other, let us say our words, our promise for our extinguishing. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Carry the spirit of the garden with you. Remember that like flowers, we are each unique, each with our own colors, fragrances, the way of growing, and yet we are bound together by this shared light, this single flame of love and community. May we nurture one another, celebrate our differences, and bloom where we are planted. And may the memory of this day remind us that in our diversity, we are truly one. I'd like to invite you to join us for coffee and conversation in Hobart Hall to your right as you leave the sanctuary. Please grab a cup of coffee and have a chat as we connect to new or long cherished friends. And there's a social justice table in Hobart Hall with a purple tablecloth. There's information about social justice and various community sharing partners, as well as t-shirts for sale with the new V-neck is also available. I saw that, Randall. We also have postcards designed for sending to your representatives and a list of names and addresses. Please take and send postcards. And I'd also like to encourage you to pursue our Rights to Read library, open every Sunday following the service, located at the end of our offices to the left as you exit. Discover a great collection of books on social issues associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion, LGBTQ+, Native American, pagan, UU, and other spiritual subjects. Check out the library and check out a book. Go in peace.